everybody, it's Callie, and I know a thing or two about having a really bad day with OCD. Technically speaking, for me personally, I feel like I had more bad nights with OCD than I did days. I always felt this feeling of dread as the sun would start to go down, it would start to get darker, just because for some reason my OCD, my anxiety would tell me that bad things only happened at night. I don't know. I can't make sense of that. And I'm not gonna try because that's OCD and it doesn't make sense. But there were also plenty of times that I would wake up in the morning, and even before I opened my eyes, as soon as I had that consciousness of being awake, I would start to feel that deep pit of dread starting to form in my stomach. And I knew that it was gonna be a rough day. And so through my time with struggling with OCD and the intrusive thoughts, the obsessions, the compulsions, everything that goes along with it, I found ways to help myself a little bit. Personally, I think I could go as far as calling these hacks. So today I want to share with you some of my hacks for getting through a really bad day with OCD. So the number one thing I think is to get up, get dressed. Start the day. Make sure you eat something. Make sure you drink some water. Just make sure that you have your basic needs met. I've said it before that if the tank is empty, you don't really have anything to go on, right? So you have to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. Don't let yourself wallow in bed all day. Don't let yourself just kind of sit there like a lump. Make sure you're getting up and you're going about your day. You're showing your mind that, hey, this is something that I'm going to get through, and this is something that doesn't have to derail my whole day or even further my whole life or anything like that. So you're going to get up and you're going to go about your day as usual, as much as you can. The second hack, I think, is just to accept risk, because you do it all the time anyway. So there are so many things in our day-to-day life, whether it's insignificant or whether it's something much larger, that we just accept the risk for, right? There are things that are beyond our control. Things could happen, things could go wrong, things could go great. We just accept the risk that it's kind of out of our control. So why is this one thing getting stuck in our brains and we're saying, but what if, when we can accept risk about everything else, right? So that's OCD. That's your OCD getting stuck on, but I can't accept uncertainty. I can't accept risk for this one thing or this, subset of things, or my intrusive thoughts for the day, right? So you just have to live with the understanding that, but there's so many things that I accept the risk for every single day anyway, so how is this one thing different? I think when you start to think of it that way, it gives that thing a little bit less power, right? You say, wait a minute, this really isn't that different, and it's something that maybe I don't need to address right this second, because whether it's in my control or not, I still have to accept that there's some kind of risk about it. And my third hack is don't try to avoid the thoughts. Avoidance is a compulsion just like anything else. So if you're getting some kind of temporary relief from avoiding thinking about the thing, avoiding seeing somebody, avoiding a subject, or avoiding the news, or avoiding whatever you're avoiding, if you're getting some kind of relief from doing that, that's a compulsion. So the trick is to not really assign any kind of meaning to that thought. And I think it goes without saying, and it's been proven a bunch of times, that the more you try to stop thinking about something or avoid thinking about something, the more you're going to think about it anyway. So if I tell you right now, don't think about a white mug with coffee in it, you automatically are going to picture a white mug with coffee in it. So when you're telling your brain to avoid thinking about something, you're just making it worse. So my fourth hack is to just be so aware of yourself and be aware of your sneaky compulsions. This is such a problem for so many people, and I know it was such a problem for me too. There were so many things that I tried to play off like they weren't compulsive. So for example, like researching something. I would spend so much time researching different things, whether I was a good person, if, thinking this one thought meant something about me, or researching some kind of illness and the symptoms or whatever that was. Or I would find so many sneaky ways to ask for reassurance from other people without straight up asking them for it. So a simple example of that would be, instead of saying like, do you think I'm a bad person because I thought this thing, I'd be like, oh my God, I just had the weirdest thought, like, and I would tell them what it was, and I'd be gauging their reaction, and I'd be like, oh my God, isn't that crazy? And then if they had some kind of reaction that I gauged as like not appropriate or not what I wanted, that would set me spiraling, right? So I was finding ways to get reassurance about the things that I wanted it for my OCD without asking for it straight up. And this is something that people do not only in person with people that they know, but I see it a lot when people are online. So whether you're in a forum, whether you're on social media or wherever it is, whether it's like in an OCD group or not or wherever, if the thing that you're posting, really kind of self-examine and say like, is the end goal that I want someone to reassure me that this is or isn't correct or whatever, depending on what your OCD feels like it wants, let's kind of reevaluate that. Okay, so let's take a step back and say, do I really need to ask for this reassurance? I'm gonna say no. So the fifth thing is something that I think I kind of mentioned before. Thoughts are just thoughts, and you have to remember that. So try not to assign meaning to whatever thought pops into your head. Again, we can't control the thoughts. We can only control how we are reacting to them, right? So thoughts by themselves don't have any meaning. They just kind of come in and come out, and that's how it is. And there's a reason that you don't assign meaning to every single thought that pops into your head, right? You can't do that. You have so many thoughts every single day. You would get nothing else done if you were assigning meaning to every single thing that popped into your head. So it's just important to remember that thoughts are just thoughts, and there doesn't have to be meaning attached to them, okay? So not every thought has to be addressed. Not every thought is blasphemous or means your relationship is going to fail or means that you're gonna turn into a sociopath or whatever the, flavor of the day is with OCD. You don't have to address them that way. So I think the ultimate hack for a really bad day with OCD actually starts a little bit earlier, and that is going through ERP, or exposure and response prevention therapy, and learning to leverage those tools every day when your OCD is affecting you. So it's important to remember that OCD is something you manage, right? We've talked about it before. This is not news. It's something you manage. It's not something you cure right off the bat or whatever. You get to a point that it doesn't affect you as much anymore, and you go about living your life as you want to. So in an effort to do that, you really want to put the effort and the time into essentially building a toolbox that you can go back to anytime you find yourself in a tough spot with your OCD. Luckily now that's something that has been made pretty accessible, and you can start to build that toolbox today through NOCD. You can go to NOCD.com or treatmyocd.com to match up with a therapist that is certified to help you with your OCD and help you start putting tools in that toolbox to help you through. I've said before that it takes work, but it is so worth it. So if you've done ERP and you have any tools or hacks that you think would be helpful, you can let me know in the comments. I'll be very interested to hear them. But on that note, I'm gonna get going. So don't forget to check out NOCD and get started on your journey to managing your OCD. And I will see you guys later. Bye.